Hello, it's Andy here, and welcome to episode 4 of my Sans 2018 Holiday Hack walkthrough. For our third objective, we're asked to find our way into the speaker unpreparedness room and hear what Marcel Nugat has to say. It sounds like this is one of the locked doors we came across on our tour of Santa's Castle in episode 1, so let's make our way upstairs. The objective description suggests that Tangle Coalbox will be somewhere nearby with yet another Cranberry Pie terminal challenge. Here's Tangle, and sure enough, he's looking for some forensic help to identify who a certain love poem was written about. Inside the terminal, the first job is to find the poem. A hidden folder called .secrets is probably a good place to start, which contains a folder called Her, which contains our poem. Reading through it, our author seems to be doting over Nevermore, which seems like an odd name, and sure enough, this is not the answer the challenge is looking for, so it seems like the poem has been changed. A good place to start looking for previous user activity is the .bash history file, located in a user's home directory. We can also see similar output by running the history command. Here we see the secret folder being created on line 4, followed by launching Firefox to do a Google search for love poems on line 5. Then the Vim text editor being run, probably to copy a love poem from the internet into the text file we saw earlier. Our lovebird then logs out on line 8, but upon their return performs another Google search to find out how to replace text using Vim. We can see Vim run shortly afterwards, so it's probably here that the file gets changed. But perhaps whoever it was wanted to hide their tracks, because they then perform another search for how to turn off the very command history we're reading now, after trying and failing to erase the file on line 21. Whilst the command on line 23 does indeed turn off bash history, it does not delete any previously recorded history. So, whilst we may not know what our user did after this point, they left us plenty of information before. Getting back to our task at hand, we need to find out who the poem was about before the name was changed to Nevermore. Luckily for us, Vim also keeps a record of its own internal command activity stored in a file called .viminfo. Here we see a series of search and replace commands which shows the word Eleanor was replaced by Nevermore. We can also see the timestamp of when each command was run. Using an online converter tool, this number tells us our lover was jilted on September the 10th, 2018 at about 7:20 PM GMT. Submitting Eleanor's name to our run to answer script results in success, so let's turn our attention now to the main part of Objective 3. In order to unlock the door, it looks like we need to enter the correct 4-character code made up of these 4 symbols. The name of this objective, the Bruijn Sequences, sounds like it's quite a big hint, and a quick Google tells us all we could ever want to know about this mathematical pattern, including a reference to the fact that it can be used to brute force certain pin code locks if they don't clear all user input upon each wrong guess. If user input is simply cycled through the lock system, as is probably the case with the lock we're tasked with breaking, then the number of guesses required to find the right combination is drastically reduced. Another quick Google gives us an online Bruijn sequence generator. We just need to specify that we have 4 possible options for each key press, and our code is 4 characters long, and we're given the appropriate Bruijn sequence. If the lock were not susceptible to a Bruijn style attack, pressing the keys corresponding to the first 16 digits of this sequence would just test these 4 combinations. But with a vulnerable lock, we actually test all of these. So, applying this to our lock, renumbering the buttons 0 to 3 from left to right, we can start making our way through the sequence. It doesn't take long before the correct combination is found, and we can then access the room beyond. There we find Marcel, who gives us the phrase required to complete this objective. But we can also see that our badge has been populated with an update on the storyline of our adventure here at the North Pole. Suddenly, all the elves in the castle start looking very nervous. You overhear some of them talking with worry in their voices. The toy soldiers, who are always gruff, now seem especially determined as they lock all the exterior entrances to the building and barricade all the doors. No one can get out, and the toy soldiers' grunts take on an increasingly sinister tone. Join me in episode 5, where we'll take on objective number 4 and hopefully find out what those dastardly toy soldiers are up to.